Hey Cypher, so I've got your question right here where you're asking about the amount of volume of carbon dioxide that you're going to need to produce this other volume of carbon monoxide. So the first thing that we should do is recognize that this right here is that 50 liters. That's the number that they've given us. And they're asking us for this guy right here. They're saying, how many liters of this volume would you need to react to produce that many liters um, of this compound? So what we're basically doing is, if you know your gas laws, PV equals nRT, or one of the many derived ones, one of these is volume over moles is equal to volume over moles, as long as they're in the same pressure temperature conditions, right? So we are at STP, so it's the same temperature, it's the same pressure. We just have different numbers of molecules or moles of those molecules, and those should correspond to the volume. So we don't really know what these moles are of, but what we could say is that there's some moles N CO2, and then there's going to be a reaction that's going to produce this CO, or the carbon monoxide. And we now know that this was 50 liters of the carbon monoxide. So saying that this is that 50 liters, and then this is that unknown number, right? So what we do know is that there's two of these right here. You can see that we've got, I'm just going to do a different color. We've got this 2 right there. Or no, that didn't come out a different color. So that 2 is saying that there's going to be twice as much of this as there is of that. So there's going to be 2 carbon monoxides for every carbon dioxide. So you could look at this as number of molecules. Like there's 4 of these for every 2 of those, right? Or you could just say, in general, there's going to be twice as much CO2 as there's, or there's going to be twice as much carbon monoxide as there's carbon dioxide. So this question, really, this number, without knowing our number of molecules, we can say this should be 25.0 liters. And it's due to the fact that we have half as much moles, and so we should have half the volume. Because this, for if 25 liters of this are reacted, it will produce twice that volume, or 2 times that volume. So 25 times 2 is 50, right? So our 25 liters is that volume of the moles carbon dioxide. I should probably label that, the CO2, like there. And if you wanted to write this, what you're essentially saying is the moles of CO2 and the moles of carbon monoxide, you're going to have to double this 2 times this number of moles to get that number of moles, right? And so we're essentially then plugging that back into here. Because if you had 1 of this, then you get 2 of that. If you had 2 of this, you get 4 of that. If you had 6 of this, you get 12 of those, so on and so forth. And so we can kind of plug that back into this formula to prove this mathematically. So if you wanted to, you could think about that as that question mark all over some number, and then this is that 50 liters. And we can say that this is the 2 times the N CO2, and then this is the N CO2. These guys kind of cancel out, right? And so we're left with 50 divided by 2 is the 25. So that's how you prove it with algebra. Okay, thanks. Check me out. I'm pretty good at this.